You are listening to the Marc Guzman Podcast Experience. Before we get started, just a reminder that you can find all of my available rental properties on my website at marcguzman.com. If you own investment property, click on the Owner Services section to see our complete list of services. This episode and wine tasting is sponsored by Lenny Clark with Prime Lending. Lenny Clark is a loan officer specializing in residential home lending. He communicates with you every step of the way, and his honesty sets him apart from the rest. He's able to think outside of the box due to his experience and is able to tailor a loan program to fit your needs. If you can't qualify just yet, not a problem. He will let you know what you need to do in order to be ready. Lanny is also backed by Prime Lending, which is one of the biggest and fastest growing lending banks in the nation. They have simplified the home lending process down to 5 steps. And FYI, step number 5 is to relax and enjoy your new home. So contact Lenny Clark today at 510-964-0620. Welcome back to another episode of Highest and Best. This week, our guest is Bill Davis of Hinds Realty Group, making his second appearance on the podcast. This week, we discuss more on the upcoming Costa-Hawkins bill, development in Oakland, changes we would like to see in the real estate industry, tips for how to increase the value of your home, and how to serve your clients better when you are a brand new agent. Yeah, because I've noticed that you're advertising, especially on Instagram, and I've also noticed Marcus Hinds on Facebook, really focusing on what it takes to sell a property.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into that segment because I really want to talk to you on that. So right now, the two of you are doing videos where you're showcasing your listings and explaining certain upgrades and why you want to do these upgrades. So why don't you break down for us probably the top 3 upgrades that a seller should consider when they're going to sell their property?
Yeah, so so me going out to a property, and so even like with creating videos and, for whoever is, the audience, right? So like I'm reaching out for a certain audience, and if I'm all about showing homes and, the process of buying a home and how to write offers, how to get your offer accepted, I'm reaching out towards that audience of buyers. And so that's where it's been, to where now I'm focusing and posting everything in regards to selling a home, like how to sell a home the best way, pricing strategies, market updates, and kind of leaning more, like I'll still mention buyer stuff, but yeah, I think the selling side of it is something that I like doing personally. So it's easy for me to go into a property, and now that I've experienced it quite a few times on my own properties and now other people's properties, and fixing them up. And I think working with a lot of buyers helped me know what buyers are looking for. And so I think that's because I'm working with a lot of new agents, and we're looking for new agents right now, and I've been training a few people, and they don't know how to fix up a home. So how are they walking into a listing appointment and telling somebody how to fix up their home or how much it's going to cost and things like that? And so I've been having them come with me to walk around properties with a seller or the contractors and stuff, and they got to know, so you got to know what buyers are looking for first, and what that's going to help you get the biggest return.
Well, okay, so I think you hit something really important here, because you've worked with a lot of buyers, and I really think in order to be a good listing agent, you have to have worked with a lot of buyers, because then you know what buyers are looking for, right? What's important to a buyer. And then once you know that mentality, when you switch over to the listing side, you can easily tell your client what the buyers are really looking for.
Yeah. And right? I think you still have to keep working with buyers occasionally. So like my business has changed, so where I work a lot more sellers, but you still have to work with a few buyers, so you're on the ground floor on the other side, so you know what the market's doing and what that's, like right now, we got a lot of listings, and so you can't price homes certain ways, and I found that out because I'm working with a lot of buyers, and there's a lot of inventory for them to choose from, right? So, but yeah, I mean, that kind of goes back to fixing up the homes And now knowing what people are looking for and like colors and, you know, the designs and like, so like when I walk through a home, I tell everybody like, I'm going to walk through it and I'm going to do things to your home as if I was going to do things. And like, I wouldn't do anything to a home unless I'm going to double or triple the money. So like if you were to put $5,000 into a property and you only make $5,000 back, those don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So fixing up a home, you know, it's, you know, the main things that most buyers don't like and will go after another home, like let's say for instance in Antioch, there's 70 houses for sale right now under 550, and they're all very similar. Like they're all built around the same. And so what makes a buyer go after this property versus another property is paint and carpet. You know, like paint and carpet, a lot of buyers don't have imagination. They're like, oh, that's too much work, you know, but I could get it done for, you know, $5,000-$6,000 to paint an entire house and put new flooring in. So that is where people will spend $20,000 to $30,000 more for you to put $5,000 to $6,000 in.
Interesting. And I have to agree with you on that because years ago when I was working with buyers and walking them through properties, and yeah, paint and carpet, they can't imagine the place with new paint and carpet. It may only cost $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, but they can't see that. They can't picture in their head. I mean, which is another reason why also staging is very important, right? Or do you find staging not that important these days?
It depends on the house. You know, I'm not a big fan of staging.
Okay.
You know, if you see a lot of my listings, like, you know, we get the same results and we don't stage the properties. I think if you have an open concept and you can't imagine where a dining room table goes or where your couches go or where your TVs go, then you got to kind of give the buyers an idea. But if you have a dining room, like, you know, a dining room table is going to go there. Like if you have a living room, you know, your couch and your TV, you know, so it depends. And smaller little homes, you know, you could put you know, smaller, like one thing that we like to do is use as much as the furniture that sellers have, if it looks okay, and then maybe bring someone in to rearrange it, you know, for a couple $100.
Okay.
So like bring a stager in and only pay him, you know, let's say a couple $100 to walk through and see what we should keep, what we should remove, and kind of design it
and clean it up a bit.
Yeah. And then maybe another couple $100 for them to bring in a few things.
Okay.
So instead of going the full $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 of staging, I don't see the return. Like that goes back to you putting $3,000 in to make $3,000 back.
Yeah. So if I'm selling my house and I have about $10,000 to $15,000 extra to spend on sprucing up my property, what should I focus on?
So I would do, well, all properties are different. So we got to, like, you know, like I said, walk through the properties to really know.
Yeah.
But I focus more on flooring and paint, and let's see what we could do to the kitchen. Maybe some of the appliances, make them look cleaner and newer. Landscaping has to look clean, empty. And if we have enough, you know, money for maybe a bathroom vanity or two. All light fixtures, all plugs, switches, like they're all like doorknobs, hinges, all matching. You know, you can't have gold knobs and stainless steel light fixtures.
Yeah.
You know, so stuff like that.
Now, on one of your Instagram posts, I saw you were painting a fence for a client.
Oh,
yeah. So I think this is also what separates some agents apart from other agents is when you're able to walk through a property, you're able to identify certain things that would, like peeling paint or trip hazards or some stuff that an FHA appraiser may call out, and then you can get those fixed ahead of time before even marketing or before the appraisal happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, are you the only one that walks through the properties to give advice, or is it more of a team effort with Marcus and some other agents?
It's just me.
Okay.
So like we all got our own listings, and so with the new agents, so we have things in place to where they're gonna, you know, they start shadowing me, and to where they could start seeing what I'm doing and seeing what,
like a mentorship program.
Yeah, like a mentorship, and so once they kind of get their own lead, or once I could kind of give them another lead, I'll go with them and just stay in the background and, you know, see, they have to pass a test, right? And also practice, you know, like give them like a fake, you know, seller and see how they do before they go off on their own. But because that's where I win listings over other agents, is mostly the walkthrough on my suggestions as far as what upgrades to do for the most return to make as much money as possible.
Okay.
You know, like if one agent says, "Oh no, you need to paint the entire exterior," but the exterior is fine and it's clean, like, you know, the inside of the house is not fully remodeled, so why, you know, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
maybe just do a power wash on the outside.
Yeah, just clean it, or, you know, something like that.
Yeah,
I think. But yeah, I mean, if you have peeling paint, like, so, like, you know, if you know what FHA is going to pass or not pass, and let's say you can't go at FHA, you're taking away a big percentage of the buyers,
mm-hmm.
which brings your price down a little bit.
Yeah, one thing I've done in the past is ask lenders, like loan officers or appraisers that have done FHA appraisals in the past, mm-hmm. to just go buy a property, take a look at it, and say, you know, tell me what's going to be called out on the FHA appraisal, and let's get that fixed before we can put it on the market.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to ask you something that is on a lot of people's minds right now because of the news and media, mm-hmm. and that's the real estate market. Are we experiencing a shift, slowdown? Do you see a correction coming? Do you see more inventory on the market? What's going on in your business, and what are you seeing with your buyers and inventory?
I'm telling all my buyers they could be very patient, but the thing is, most buyers, I want to say 9 out of 10 buyers, they're all going after the house that has the brand new carpet, brand new paint, and the ones that are fully fixed up and priced correctly and get multiple offers. And they're not going after the house down the street that looks exactly the same, just needs a few items. So buyers are willing to pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 more for this house versus this house that only needs like $5,000 worth of work. Mm-hmm. And so I'm seeing a lot of people thinking that they could just put their houses on the market and they're going to get offers no matter what, which isn't the case anymore. Mm-hmm. So what I've noticed is you still have to make sure you're the best house in the whole area and price the best to be able to get those buyers to want to submit offers.
Interesting.
So it's more so I mean, I started in the industry, you know, when the market was all the way at the bottom. You know, mm-hmm. the houses in this area were $150,000.
Yeah, you started in 2008.
2010.
10? Okay.
Yeah. So I've been kind of watching it go. So I've never been in this kind of market to where things aren't just selling, you know, within a week or two. Mm-hmm. So what I've learned in my listings is pricing them still very aggressive, but still having it compared to the best looking house that just sold.
So you're not seeing buyers just say, well, can't we just go to that older home and offer 20, 30 grand less?
I'm telling them to do that. A lot of them don't want to do that.
They want to go straight for the nicest house.
So I just put 2 offers out this past, so last week I got an offer accepted. We went 30,000 below, countered back and forth. And then there's just no other offers, so I know that. And so that's when you could be aggressive and mm-hmm. see so like when I work with buyers, I need to find out what the magic number is, bring that magic number to the buyers and say, this is what it's going to take. And so finding out that magic number, you got to see how motivated, like if a house is vacant and it's sitting there and there's no offers on it, of course you're going to try to go low. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if I find out there's no offers, I'm going 20, 30, like for a $500,000-$600,000 house. And if they haven't done any price reductions.
Yeah. So that's very interesting. That's not something a lot of people say that, well, I mean, I haven't heard any other real estate agent really tell me that, or I haven't heard anyone say that, in that you want to be the nicest house plus price aggressive because buyers are going for those nicer homes first. Mm-hmm. That's very interesting. Yeah. And you're seeing that across the board in the East Bay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say everywhere. What
about inventory? Do you see inventory up?
Well, there's a lot of inventory, but there's also a lot of buyers. Like, mm-hmm. You go through some of the houses, like I'm saying, the ones that have professional photos, videos, drones, and you walk in and, like, there's no cutting corners and everything's done correctly, you'll see 20, 30 business cards on the table of people showing it. Mm-hmm. But you'll go to some listings that took some cell phone pictures and didn't really spruce up the place that much, and you'll get 1 business card.
Yeah.
So the inventory, there's a lot of inventory, but if you look at the inventory that's sitting, it's those properties that are priced like they're fixed up, and then they're not.
Interesting. And even if you lower, So you would have to significantly lower the price on those properties in order to attract attention. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's really good advice. Fix up the property, be the best looking property, and price the most aggressive.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Costa-Hawkins. The California Association of Realtors sponsored Costa-Hawkins back in 1995, I think, when they originally passed it. So are you seeing on your end with buyers or even some sellers making decisions to sell instead of maybe rent with Costa-Hawkins being repealed or potentially being repealed in November? Is that coming into play with any buyers or sellers and in deciding whether to buy or sell?
I haven't heard any of my clients ever say anything about that. But one thing that I do notice are the people that are getting into the market unexpectedly are people that just got notice that they have to vacate because maybe the investor is about to sell. So that could play into that. So I get a lot of clients that are like, yeah, we got a 60-day notice. We have to, it's either we rent or we buy. And so what I tell everybody is like, at least know all your options. Let's see if you could buy and know the numbers because you already know the other option is renting.
Mm-hmm.
So you might as well go down that road. You don't have to do it. But
now, in your opinion, is it better to rent or is it better to buy right now in this market?
So what I tell all my clients is, even all my friends and family, like, it depends on the price range and your budget, right? So if you're looking at a house and you could rent it for, let's say, $3,000, right? And then if you could buy that house and have a payment similar to that, then it's a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you might as well own it. Who cares what the price is of the house? So your payment's still the same because rents aren't going to go down. And so the thing is if you're going to be, that's how it is. That's what I tell people.
So if the payment's going to be higher, obviously it doesn't make sense. Now you do have a mortgage interest deduction that goes into play, but many times with some of the prices and some of the loans that people are getting, that still comes out more expensive even after that deduction, right?
Yeah. So like if you bought a house, let's say, your payment's $3,000 a month and the rent is $3,000 a month. You're paying taxes on that rent at the end of the year versus owning it and you're getting that deduction. So maybe your payment's like 25, 26, or maybe less depending on your tax bracket. So that's when it makes sense. The people that I see that could get in trouble, and I mean, you're seeing, Orchard Supply going out of business, Toys R Us, like, there's people that are losing jobs and it could happen more and more. And so, and I saw that in the industry when I was selling cars.
Mm-hmm.
And, the industries were just, everybody was losing and didn't have any income to make any more payments. The thing is that you have to pay somewhere to live, no matter what. So once you start going, like, I want to say, if you're a first-time home buyer and you start looking at $600,000, $700,000 homes and you don't have a down payment and you're trying to buy it with very little down, that's living above your means.
Yeah.
And that's when people could start getting in trouble. But I think if you're looking at anything below 500, that's when the rents and the mortgage payments are pretty close to each other.
Yeah, speaking of cars, and I think we got into this conversation last time you were on the podcast. Now you're on the podcast second time.
Yeah.
The car industry, the financing there, it seems like they're giving loans out to anyone right now when it comes to buying a car. Have you stayed up to date with what's going on in the car industry?
Not really, but you see a lot of new cars everywhere.
Yeah.
I think whoever's not buying a car or whoever's not buying a house, they're buying a car. That's what I've been kind of seeing.
Yeah.
Because people that are buying a home, they're not going to add more debt to, they just know that's going to hurt them. So
hopefully they don't add more debt during the transaction period, right?
Yeah. But I think, anybody's buying cars right now. Everybody's just, everybody's making money. The economy's good right now.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's, seeing their friends buy a new car and makes you want to buy a new car. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a big debate right now with the future of the real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get your opinion on this because there's a lot of different opinions out there. You've got tech companies like Open Door, Zillow, these iBuyers. Zillow has instant offers now where people can put their property up for sale. They can sell it. They can buy property without the use of a real estate agent. Now, they've cracked into a very small market, I guess, certain people that want to just streamline the process instead of using a real estate agent. But the big debate and the big scare is going forward in the future, are these companies going to grow big enough to take over the entire market share? I mean, where do you see real estate agents in the future?
I don't see any change too much, because the fact of knowing what to do to your house, how to price your house to attract buyers that are going to pay certain amounts of money, that's not going to change. So like the average person doesn't know what to do to their home to get it to look, top dollar, or to get a buyer to pay top dollar. So I don't see that changing too much. I mean, people are doing it anyways right now. They're going to open houses by themselves. I got clients that like going to open houses more than me privately showing them. It's the same thing. So there's no way you could buy a house off of online, even with all those 3D tours. You don't see the neighbors. You don't see there might be a scary, crazy dog next door, and you have a kid that's going to be playing in the backyard. It's stuff like that. Inspection contingency. There's a lot of moving parts. There's too many moving parts to have it all streamlined through a website, let's say. I just saw a car, dealing with the cars. Like they have a business now where you could shop online and it's delivered to you now. Like you could get car delivery to your door.
Yeah.
But houses, how do you do that with houses?
There's car is mobile. Yeah, car mobile. I mean, it shows up. It's not going to show up with a dog inside, right?
Yeah. Like Zillow has like a thing that says "Make me move," and it has a price. Like, of course, like if they get the price, then. But is that buyer like in this market when there's 20 other houses in his city in the same price range? Why are they going to click on your button to buy it? Versus like, how do you get the strategy for them to click the button? Like they need somebody to help them with that.
Yeah. Now, have you heard about the IRS and the government really looking at real estate agents about converting them from self-employed classification to it would be W-2 to employee level? Have you looked at that?
I haven't really seen too much of that.
It's been a debate that's been happening for quite a few years, but it's been squashed pretty much every year.
Yeah.
Until the last 2 years, it seems like it's really picked up a lot. And the scare is, well, if they convert a lot of these agents over from self-employed to W-2 as employees, what's going to happen to everyone? Because now brokers are going to be required to pay payroll taxes, pay overtime, pay health benefits if you have so many full-time workers, full-time agents. And then the scare is, well, then a lot of brokers are not going to be able to employ so many different agents because not many agents produce a lot of sales. And then it's a matter of, okay, you have to weed out a lot of these agents.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you'd have to put more agents through more tests before you hire them.
Yeah.
Because if it's going to cost them, because most times, you can hire people, it doesn't really cost you. It costs you time, training, and then they bounce and they don't want to work anymore. But yeah, I think, it's kind of hard to say, like, how that would affect anybody. Like, I don't know, like, how would it be like a salary kind of job where, okay, I make this amount of money and I produce this much? Like, it would have to be like a pay scale kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that you get paid this amount of money if you're close, this amount of deals, or
it'll have to be like a model, kind of like Redfin.
Yeah.
Because Redfin, they employ older agents. They get paid a base salary, benefits, and time off, etc. And I guess they pay pretty well. Their base salary is $40,000, plus you have commissions and everything, depending on how many deals you close, right? So many deals, you get an extra, I don't know, 5,000-10,000 bonus, something like that. And I see some Redfin agents jump ship. Like they go to, I guess if you sell enough properties, you figure, well, I can just do this on my own now, and then just make more money that way. But the National Association of Realtors came out with some interesting stats that the median gross income for realtors is $39,000. But that's all realtors. So this includes brokers, appraisers who also subscribe, sales agents, broker managers. But sales agents alone, their median gross income is $28,000, $19,000 after taxes and expenses. So that's the one thing that really shocks me when they come out with these stats, is that there's 1.2 million realtors, maybe 1.3, but a lot of them are not making that much money.
I'm dealing with it. I put an ad out, and I'm hiring new agents, and you hear it all the time, like, oh, I want to get my real estate license. Everybody thinks getting that real estate license, you get a lot of time off and you get paid a lot of money. And
that's not the case.
The thing is,
they see the broker driving the Mercedes Benz and think, yeah.
Like what I've been doing is I've been having people come with me and shadow me on a daily basis of just what I do, on how I close multiple deals a month. Like, they see that, and then they actually end up backing out, and they actually. I think I helped them make a decision in life to not even get their real estate license, because they see they have to actually work.
Yeah.
So I think that's the majority of, like, people that aren't sure what to do in life, and they decide, like, oh, I want to become a realtor. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, you're still going to need to put that time in to grow in that industry.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't, and then you also have to have patience, because it takes years to start seeing results.
Well, this kind of plays into the whole issue that many experienced agents have, is that it's too easy to get your license, and too many people get their license, which then results in a lot of in a big dilution of the quality of agents, right? Like, too many agents just they're not professional. I mean, they cause too many issues, probably more issues than should be happening, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that should go with. So a lot of people are going with their brothers and sisters and cousins and friends that just got their license, and they deal with stuff like that. And I deal with a lot of clients that, like, they've been shopping for a house for a year. Like, how have you been looking for a house for a year? It's like, like, I just talked to these other clients, and they have put in, like, let's say 7 offers on a house, and they were the ones doing all the groundwork and homework on how to get the offer accepted. They were the ones talking to the realtor, and their agent that was representing them that probably didn't even go with them. Most of them are just, allowing their clients to go to open houses, and, and then they'll just write an offer, but they guess. Like, they don't even, like, put that professional touch to it to reach out to the other realtors to find out what they need to do to make a deal happen. And they're like, oh, they just, like, I'll put a listing out there, and I'll get, like, offers from people, and I haven't even heard from them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so.
Yeah, that is really weird, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I like it because I know that that's my competition.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, if that's my competition, we're going to kill it.
Yeah.
So.
But you would think there would be at least one courtesy phone call to investigate, hey, I've got a client that really wants to make an offer.
Yeah.
Where do I need to be to, make this happen?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy that happens.
So for a new agent coming into the business, and they're usually, when you're a newer agent, you're dealing with buyers. You're not the top listing agent right off the bat.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with buyers, what are some tips that you could give to them in order to help increase their chances of getting deals accepted? So, I mean, I think number one would be call a listing agent, right?
Yeah, call a listing. I think the biggest thing is get a mentor, join a team that's doing something to where you could train one-on-one with to learn the steps. But, there are people, like, there's, like, you could join coaching programs or whatnot to learn all these steps. But a lot of that stuff is free content, but you just have to you just have to be able to do it,
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people just don't do it. They need a coach to tell them what to do. But yeah, I mean, I think so. Writing an offer, the first step is the communication, what the activity level is on a property. That's where I win all my offers. I try to get them verbally accepted before I actually write it. So it's the personal touch, the emails, being very persistent. Even if they don't give you the answers you want, don't give up. Keep trying. Keep showing how much your buyer wants it, how much you want it. And now, so that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. One thing I tell a lot of new agents is network as much as you can to get to know other agents in the industry, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're representing buyers and you come across a listing agent that has a listing your client wants, but the person because you've met several times at some networking event. You've gotten to have lunch with them, whatever the case. You've built rapport with them, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it becomes a little bit easier to get answers from them and negotiate. And it's like an open line of communication, right?
Yeah,
and so you actually do your client, like you give them better service by being able to network with other agents. And so I think just that alone, if it's very valuable to network, calling up a listing agent to talk to them is really important, because what's one of the things that a seller will ask you when they're reviewing offers? Well, who are the agents? Have you dealt with them before?
Yeah.
Right? That's a common question. I don't know if you get that all the time, but whenever I deal with listings and I'm presenting offers, I get that question quite a bit. And if I don't know the person, if they at least called me and said, hey, my lender's got the buyer is solid.
Yeah,
My lender, just that connection, I can at least tell my client, they called me up. They told me this, that about the buyer. They love the home. This is what they told me.
Yeah.
Right? That's better than, you know what? They never call me. They just randomly emailed the offer. I don't know who this person is. Never worked with them.
Yeah. No, I've seen it. It's crazy to deal with that. Like the thing is, the agents aren't, like I said, they're not putting in the work. They're being kind of lazy to where they're not picking up the call. They don't know what questions to ask and things like that. So, yeah, it's more so like sellers, like, to be honest too, though, is that I've rarely done another deal with the same agent. And that kind of goes back to 1.3 million realtors out there. Like, there's so many realtors out there. You rarely run into the same realtors on deals. When you do run into it is easier because, hey, I just remember that we did a deal last couple months ago, and we closed successfully. I could do this again, stuff like that. So I think it's more, but most times you don't know them. Rarely you do find the same realtors again that your buyer wants, but it's all about the connection, and like it's the networking right then and there. Like, I got this offer accepted. There was 8 offers on the deal. It was, the biggest house in El Sobrani, and like everybody wanted it. Like, it's a house that nobody ever. And so, like, I brainstormed with my team like different ideas, and I actually sat down and met with the listing agent in person, and nobody else did that. And I think that really worked with, building that connection. Like, and maybe that question popped up. Have you worked with this guy? Hey, this guy actually came in and met with me and presented the offer in person.
Yeah, that's something that used to be like a standard thing in the industry. Like, you had to take your offer to a listing agent's office and present it.
Yeah.
That was, and then technology and the internet came along, and now everyone.
I wasn't around then.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's also a nice touch. And even if you don't have the best offer, you stand out right away, because you might be, most likely, you're the only person who showed up to present it in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that goes back to, what buyers or even sellers should do. I think you should interview, like, just like getting bids on a construction job. You need to get multiple bids to make sure you're getting the best one. You need to talk to a few people before you actually start doing it and see what this person could do, see what this person could do, and then you kind of decide. Right?
So have you kept up with the Oakland Coliseum site?
Not too much.
Not too much?
Yeah, I try to.
So one question that I answered on the Ask Marc Anything is, how can a Coliseum affect the home values of a neighborhood close by? So I want to get your take on that. How can a Coliseum, like a brand new Coliseum, affect prices? Does it affect it positively or negative based on your experience?
I mean, I think if you're, like, let's say you compare it to San Francisco, how it's next to all those apartments and things like that, like, all their values are so much higher because they're next to a big landmark. That's a venue that everybody wants to go to. And then, like, what they're doing around the ballpark also, like shopping centers and houses and parks and things. So, having new stuff around you, I think, brings your value up.
Yeah.
Compared to having an old, ancient Coliseum, I think that, brings your values down.
Okay, so...
Well, I guess, also, what do you do with the land around that Coliseum? Because there's a lot of, like, unused, factories and warehouses and space out there. I mean, why doesn't anyone just kind of knock that stuff down to add on to it?
Yeah, I think. Well, look at San Francisco, what they're doing. You know, that whole Hunters Point area, like the old Coliseum, or the old San Francisco Candlestick, and I mean, they're all kind of doing the same thing. You know, and like even like with Hilltop Mall, stuff like that. Like they're kind of they need to make it new. And they need to make it new, and like so they know what people are looking for and what they want, right? So I think like parks, shopping, schools.
So maybe
housing.
a new Coliseum would take an older neighborhood, increase the value because now there's going to be more demand to be close to that landmark.
That and just because there's going to be so much stuff around it, right? So I think what people are doing now is like they're taking parking away. So like because all those parking takes away. Like you go to all the brand new stadiums, like Seattle, like there's no more tailgating anymore. It's all about like having bars and restaurants and like the parks and those kind of things around the stadium. And I think that's what would attract. You don't even have to go to the ballpark to enjoy your time near it.
Yeah, I know quite a few people that go. They go to San Francisco not to AT&T Park, but they go to like Momo's right across the street, and they'll watch the game there on TV.
Well, you can't. Yeah, there's no more tailgating anymore. Oakland, is the only place to tailgate around here.
Yeah,
Levi's.
I had a buddy who just tailgated at AT&T Park, so you can still do that in one of their parking lots.
Yeah, there's like 20 parking spots available for you to do that.
Yeah,
yeah. It's definitely changed, but I mean, I think looking at all the brand new parks, like they all make it very close to the commute, or like BART and transportation, to where it's easy for people to go to. And then I think going back to like having nice fancy restaurants and parks and shopping, and like that's people want to be near that. Like look at Walnut Creek, like look at the prices out there, but look what you get. You get downtown area with the restaurants and
there's a ton of construction going on right there in Walnut Creek. A lot of condos being built.
Yeah, so I think looking at all that, I think it's obvious that the values in that area would skyrocket.
Okay, interesting. So if there's one thing about real estate you could change, what would it be?
It's a hard question. I don't know. I think it's more so. I think dealing with other agents and their stress level and having everybody stay more balanced and kind of easygoing.
Oh, there's some agents that are strung out all the time, right?
I think that would probably be my number one thing. Like why be the agent to cause a transaction to be super stressful, and be really patient and with timelines and all that stuff, and not be as strict and throwing notice to performs and just causing headaches.
Yeah.
I think that would be egos.
Well, the notice of perform is sometimes necessary.
Well, yeah, like things like that. But I think like egos and stuff like that get in the way of agents.
Yeah.
And, they try to pump up their chest. And so I think if everybody kept it more balanced and patience and just to make, on both sides, seller side, buyer side, like, I represent both sides. And so I see both views of it. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, Bill, thanks for coming on to the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun having you on. Second time. We'll have to have, I really want to get you and Marcus on here. Yeah. Talk about some construction, because I really like the videos that the two of you are putting together. And I think the videos complement each other. Yeah. Marcus will go through and explain certain upgrades and why you upgrade to this type of countertops and not the other type, and what upgrades he looks for. And so it's interesting. Do you guys use the same videographer?
Kind of. I mean, we've been kind of doing it ourselves, actually.
Okay,
and then we have like editors. Like I was just talking to Sam about, like, I'm looking for editors and to help me. So like I create my own clips and put them all together. I mean, there's apps out there I do most of my editing on my phone. Yeah. And it comes out pretty professional, And
it looks really good. Yeah.
So yeah, I think, but yeah, I mean, we are looking for videographers and editors, and always trying to be different and better and new.
Yeah, it's interesting marketing, and with 1.3 million realtors out there, a lot of people tend to do the same type of marketing, right? and it's just the same thing over and over and over again. And I always crack up because if you look at a real estate agent's marketing, the people who like or comment are other real estate agents. And many times it's like, look, I respect that you respect my advertising or whatever, but I'm not trying to target you. I'm trying to target actual clients who may be interested in the property. And that's where I think you have to be completely different as an agent to really stand out there. And videos, I see so many people doing the same type of videos over and over again. But you guys are doing something pretty unique, which is awesome to see.
Well, again, it's dealing with, new agents and or old agents, like the older agents, like they are used to a certain way of doing things. And so this is the new way of doing things, and it's not clicking yet for them because they don't see results right away. Like it takes, I tell the new agents that it takes me 6 months to a year to see results. And then after that, so now I've probably been heavily doing this for about a year now, and maybe less than a year, and I'm seeing good results, and the results help you keep going and being more creative because you see that it works. But I think it's hard for new agents to start doing things because they put out 1 to 2 videos, and they'll spend a lot of time making those 1 to 2 videos, and then they put them out, and then they get 2 likes. And so then they get discouraged, and they're like, oh, I don't want to do this no more.
Yeah, I had this same discussion with another real estate agent, and I think it was also here on Highs and Best, where, putting together videos is time consuming. I've had videographers before on my team. I've done videos myself as far as the editing, putting it together. It's time consuming. I mean, just recording the content, then editing and putting it all together and just putting it out there like a daily video, it's tough, right? And it takes up a lot of time, takes up a lot of money, and then you get it out there and 50% of your views drop off in the first 3 seconds, right? Whereas, and that's one thing that made me decide to really jump into podcasting is that if you look at the studies and the statistics of podcasting and the listeners, 87% of the listeners will listen to most or the entire podcast. So you don't have people dropping off in the first few seconds because the activity of how people listen to podcasts is a different mentality and different way they listen to podcasts than when they look at videos. If you're looking at a video, you have to watch the video, right? With a podcast, you can do it while driving. You can do it while doing laundry. You can do it while cooking. There's a lot of different ways you can consume podcasts. And it's super cheap and easy to do. You can literally just do it on your phone and post it directly up online, right? So, and the one thing you said right now is consistency. That is so important. So many people drop off. The average podcast is 6 episodes. And that's because people...
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And there's so many podcasts out there, but what do you think happens to a listener when they listen to all 6 episodes? Or even if you have 30 episodes and there's no more, they go on to the next person. And then they forget about you. Right? So
keep it going.
You do videos or you do podcasting, you got to keep it going. And the results come over time because people eventually notice or the word gets out, oh yeah, you got to watch Bill's videos because... he's constantly putting videos out there, right? And then you get better over time, especially if you're doing the editing yourself. You start becoming, once it's routine, you start going, talking to yourself in your head saying, well, how can I make this a little bit better than the last video, right?
No. And, well, if you go back to, what Gary Vee says about, his first video of the wine thing, versus now, so if you go back to my first video, when I first made one, compared to now, it's the way I talk and the way, it's so much different. And it's all about consistency. And then, so now though with videos is, I noticed that, there's only so many people that will watch certain seconds. And so I try to focus on short, quick videos and fast moving videos to where you keep their attention. Because if you're just standing there in front of a camera and you're just talking and, they get bored and they're going to turn it off. So you got to keep it interesting and have cool videos for them to watch it. And you have to have a lot of them. I always, a good example, this is what I tell everybody is, so you know, a lot of people have too big of a target audience, right? And so if you make one video and you spend this amount of time to make that one video, and let's say you're trying to reach 50,000 people, you make one video and you're only going to get like 300 to 500 views. How many videos do you have to make to reach 50,000 people? So maybe either you spend a little more money and boost that video a little more to reach more people, or dial down your target audience until you could get bigger.
Or create more videos.
Yeah, or create more videos, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I've been kind of trying to figure out, it's a science. It's like a marketing science.
It's a lot of testing. You have to really just be testing different things, and sometimes it takes a year or two before things really kick in. I mean, I've noticed that with our podcast statistics.
I mean, it wasn't really until 2, maybe 3 months ago that we really started to see a big jump in our numbers.
Yeah, and then in August, we basically almost doubled what the average downloads were for the prior months. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know if you've seen September statistics, but we're only 5 days into it, and we're almost at our last month download figure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and this is episode, what is it, 153, 154? Something like that.
It's 153, I believe.
Yeah, 153 and 13 months of podcasting.
Advice that I could give people right now, like new agents or even all the agents that aren't doing social media or podcasts or anything, is what I started doing a while ago, and I still do, is, you know, I think in any business you have to study your competition. Mm-hmm. Who's killing it? Not just in this area. I follow people in Texas. I follow people down in LA. I follow people in different areas, but I like what they're putting out. And so it's not like, you know, why reinvent the wheel? You know, you could kind of copy what's working.
Yeah.
You see who has 50,000 likes. You know, I want to do videos like they're doing. And so copying people.
Yeah.
You know, because nobody's really doing videos around here. You know, like there's very few people doing videos in the East Bay that I've noticed. You know, there's a few people in Antioch I've seen. And so but it's just...
The problem with that is what I told you before, though. They're all doing the same type of drone video. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's like, okay, how many drone videos can you watch?
And stuff, and they're sold.
Exactly.
And accepted. And so, and like, well, what most people are doing is they're paying a company, and that company is doing what all the other agents are doing, and it's all the generic post. Mm-hmm. And so you got to be different. You got to be creative and do your own videos and keep it more real in yourself. And like, why are they going to like you? And but yeah, that's what I do though. Is some late nights I'll search what other people are doing and take ideas and make it my own.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why you're successful and why I enjoy watching your videos, and I think you're doing good stuff, and keep doing it, and good luck in the future, and can't wait to see how your career just really grows in the next 5 to 10 years. Awesome to see.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, trying to do what I can.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you to our producer, Sam Lubman. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share the podcast. Remember, you can listen to the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Google Play, SoundCloud, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. For more information on my business as a property manager and real estate team, go visit my website at marcguzman.com. I really want to thank all of you for listening. It means the world to me, and I hope today's episode provides you value in your day-to-day life. I created this podcast to help showcase the many great people that live in this world and help share some knowledge that I've learned along the way in life. Again, thank you for listening. Check out our sponsors, and I'll catch you on the next episode.